You try to plan. You try to plan for all this stuff. My name is Mike Langford. I'm a mixer. Sorry. My name is Mike Langford, engineer, producer, mixer, based in Toronto, Canada. Welcome back to the channel, Let's Mix Live, where we do some live stream mix demonstrations. Again, not what you should do, but what you could do. It's funny because I use Restream.io, and I just hit go live, and then usually it flips over and tells me that we're live, and then it wasn't, so I had to check over there. And then as soon as we went live, also the background music decided to cut out. I don't know what's going on sometimes with technology. So we got a few people here in the chat already. So Katie's here, Mike Patterson's here, Justin's here. Thanks for joining so early. I'm glad that part's working. I can edit this after the fact, so it's not a big deal. But because we're live, I try to get everything all together at the same time. And away she goes. We got a new song we're working on this week. A new song we're working on. Band is called The Long Wait. The song is called Back Home to Blue. It's an old country folk rock song. I was listening through not last night, but a couple days ago, some of the songs that I want to have on the show in the near future, and this was one of them that one of the songs that a student brought in that they were curious about having me mix last term. So I thought it'd be a good one to include early on, because there's lots of things to address about this song, and it's a good song overall. Arrangement's good, vocals are good, musicianship's good, but when I listened to the preview for it, there's definitely some things that jump out that I would like to address. So Patterson's saying, why is there a long wait? That is the name of the band. It's the name of the band, Patterson. So yeah, we got a new song that we're working on. Probably we'll do this one likely in 3 parts. But today is gonna be listening through, kind of getting a handle on the tracks, just get the sessions set up, and then Thursday at noon, barring any technical issues, Thursday at noon we'll probably get a lot more of the mix done, and then the following one probably just finish it up a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. All right, I'm going to move over to the computer here now. You can see what I'm seeing. I'm still internally laughing at how everything was set up. I'm like ready to go. I even because I have my music that plays in the background, I have that set on YouTube. I'm like, I'll let it go for like 10 minutes so there's no buffering errors. And like as soon as we go live, there's instantly a hiccup and it crashed on my phone. So away she goes. The couple of the disclaimers to get it out of the way here. If you are listening on headphones or speakers or line array system, you know who you are. Do be mindful when I'm EQing and stuff. I do sweep around pretty aggressively with some frequencies. I don't want anyone to have any issues with their hearing or their gear after. So be mindful of that. Only thing that I've done so far, I've imported the tracks. If you're wondering where I got this session, there's a site, Cambridge Music Technology. Link below, if you're watching on YouTube. Link below, there's tons of mix resources there. So if you're a new mixer or you're an engineer and you're just curious to see some more recording sessions, fantastic resource. Has tons of different genres there, tons of artists. There's some really higher profile artists on there as well. I was digging through. So yeah, that's kind of a little gold mine for those that are interested in mixing in particular. So that's where I'm pulling the tracks from. It's for educational purposes. This is educational and hopefully entertainment for some people that are curious about what goes on. And again, there's 101 different ways to make things sound good. So I'm sure some people will be watching this and be like, you don't know what you're doing. None of us really know what we're doing, but some of us can get paid. So like that definitely does, like it helps with what we're doing. But there's lots of different ways to make things sound good. So this is just one approach. And again, I say it often because it's funny to me. It's not what you should do. It's what you could do. Because there's lots of things that you could do. Justin's saying, I was just thinking about it the other day when a mix viewer submitted songs my band would love to have you mix a track sometime, pay for it. We can chat later. about that. Just I probably should have read that in my mind before I read it out loud, but that's what happens when I'm doing stuff live. But we could chat about that because that would be fun, and that's kind of something that I'd be interested in doing later on, because there's like a bajillion tracks already up on that site to pull for educational purposes. But I'd be curious to take a stab at it. So I've imported the track so far. I've imported the preview of it, but I've also imported my 2 1 kilohertz test tones here. So watch your ears if you got headphones on. Such a lovely sound to let us know if things are coming through properly. I have a little mixer, so I have my Pro Tools going through that, and my headphones and my microphone and everything like that. So, because someone brought it up. I'm almost certain between my monitor station, the Mackie monitor station that I have, and the Behringer mixer, I'm almost certain that there's coloration going on between the 2 of them. Do I care? No, I don't, because it hasn't stopped me before. It hasn't stopped me yet when some of these devices may be adding coloration into the sound. I don't know. I hear you, and definitely on some better, higher end rigs, I do hear. It's a little cleaner, but it hasn't stopped me. It hasn't made a chorus better or worse. I'll put it that way. So, all right. So 1 kilohertz test tone. So I can just right click on that and hide, make that inactive. For those who are new, I tried to explain what I'm doing as I'm doing this stuff. That's part of the kind of over my shoulder. And I try to articulate my thought process. I have a trackball, so I have a whole bunch of extra buttons and stuff I can do. If you have questions, let me know in the chat. But for the most part, I can right-click on things. If you can't right-click on things, hold Control and then click on things. I'll say that a couple times during the show. But okay, I want to listen through the preview here. I'm going to use again the wonderful people at Blue Pearl Pet Hospital. This pen. I don't know where I got this pen from, but I'm going to make some notes as the song's going through, and then. Because I do think there's a lot of value in the first... Don's here to go, Don. There's a lot of value in first impressions when you're listening to a piece of music. So especially if you're going to be mixing it, because I think you need to identify what the focus points are and any trouble spots or any challenging elements that you might need to deal with, and kind of use your time accordingly. So another thing that came up chatting with some students about mix stuff, you get paid for the best of your ability, and then the time you have to work within it. The big part of being professional is just kind of that. So if you only have one day to do it, you need to figure out where's your time going to go, and also realistically, is that going to be a 12 or 16-hour day, or is that going to be an 8-hour day? So if you have a day to do something, you need to figure out how much time. If you have 3 days to do something, you probably have a little more time to do a couple of things, because you might spend 70% of the time just prepping a track and getting it ready, and then the other 30% actually pushing the faders around once all the ingredients are good. I'll have my food analogies sorted out later, but for now. All right, enough chin wagging. I'm going to go to the beginning here and hit return, go to the beginning of the song. I've sold the track here. This is the preview. If you're new, A to Z in Pro Tools, make sure that's selected. That turns a bunch of things into hotkeys. So I'm going to turn this down just a touch, so that I don't know how loud it's going to be. And yeah. Oh, if you're curious, flipping back and forth between your edit window in Pro Tools and your mix window, that is Command equals. Because it drives me nuts when I see people have everything spaced out. It doesn't need to be like that. Don't let it be like that. All right, enough chin wagging. Let's have a listen here. So this is Back to Blue by The Long Wait.
Chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the Blue Hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. surface summer glow. And coming back across, I always notice subtle graces. And the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away. But better still to come back home to blue. If absence makes the heart grow fonder, I would reckon these little journeys do their parts to work for all of us. 'Cause when you leave, the summer drips from green and dusty aspens, and then they shimmer golden when you come back in the fall. I'm going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good to get away. But better still to come back home to blue. Many rows of corn blur on the downside of the Blue Hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will.
Okie doke. So that is Back Home to Blue by The Long Wait. It's a alt country folk rock tune. Again, there's lots of things in this tune that I like. There's some things I think could be cleaned up a little bit, and just not to say there isn't anything that I think is really challenging about this song to put it together, but it's just cleaning things up. And I haven't heard. I do my best to not listen to these songs if they're released. I don't go on Spotify. I don't check to see what's happening. I do. I will Google the band to see if they're active or if anything's gone sideways with the band, because that could always be a thing sometimes too. It's always good to do your homework that way. But I think they've been possibly inactive for a few years, but I did like this song quite a bit. And it is a good session, I think, for getting a handle on mixing, and especially that's a full band. I think there's lots of great stuff here. A couple of questions here. Chin wagging. It's slang for talking, possibly talking longer than you should, which I'm excellent at. So that would not no. Don saying, curious, what was your answer to Justin Smith's question regarding having one of his band's songs on the show? That's definitely something we can talk about. It's something that I've thought about later. I was actually going to ask if people are on that Cambridge Music Technology site, if there's anything on there that they would like me to take a stab at, then that could be a thing too. I'll mix anything because again, as long as it's not offensive or anything like that, but I'll mix pretty much anything. So I'm always curious for how the actual sessions were put together, but also just sonics. Like, I like mixing a lot, and again, it probably sounds silly, but just like, I like the sonics of mixing. I like messing around with them, with some of the tonality of songs, and just seeing the arrangement, seeing how it was recorded, and just be able to clean things up a little bit. I do find some gratification in doing that, and working on songs that way. So Justin, yeah, I'm interested. You can message me after. You can chat about that. Yeah, okay. So I made my notes. Underneath my notes from last week. So what I have on my notes over here for February 20th, 2022, find the tempo, because we need to see if we have a tempo for the song. The drums. So right into the idea with the drums. I'm curious if we have the tempo. There's a few spots I think we can iron out a little bit, timing wise. But I'm curious if we have a tempo, if I could maybe just time the whole song and kind of go from there. Justin's saying, is Facebook? Yeah, Facebook is great. Facebook is great. I think my email for Let's Mix Live is actually down below as well on YouTube. If it's not, Facebook is good. In order to find me on there, Hey Langford is on there. That's a good place, or just my personal account, or info@heylangford.com. Shameless plug. That's a good one too. It's funny with the drums because I want to time them a little bit, but also the way that and again, this is way outside what we should be doing. But there's just, from a drummer perspective, there's a couple drum grooves where I just I wish the kick drum was just somewhere else or gone. So I'm curious if I can put a couple band-aids on that way. Again, I'm of the thought, ask for forgiveness instead of permission. So if someone handed it to me, I'd be like, oh yeah, I messed things up. So that's why the drums fit the rhythm better. So we'll figure that one out later if I can do that. The bass, there's lots of great bass stuff going on in here. It's gonna solo the bass here. So that sounds like the DI to me. So we can get that bass an amp sound. We can get that. Sans amps, your really easy go-to in Pro Tools. I try to use a lot of stock Pro Tools stuff. Although Deverb let me down a lot last mix. So I might try some other things there too. But so yeah, bass amp, get that going. Prep the vocals. That's totally normal. If I don't hear the vocals prepped or tuned, or a couple nudges here and there, we can go and do that. I'm of the thought your vocals are 51% of your mix. So get your vocals as good as they can be. And also, I've said this several times, and I will say this forever, but nobody's perfect. There's some great performances, but no vocalist is perfect. And the day and age that we're in, just a little bit of dusting with Melodyne can usually just put it where it needs to be, and just a couple notes here, there, and just tighten it up. And we can live a long, happy life with great sounding vocals. Drum samples, I might check into the kick, but also there's the cross stick, or the kind of side snare thing. I think it's right here. That sound, where you take the drumstick and you're hitting, you kind of lay it down on the snare drum and you kind of hit it. So I'm kind of like, I usually replace that because I need to have that sound a little bit crisper. And because we can hear the hi-hat, I like to just put a sample in there. It's a little bit easier. Guitar solo, I think it's staircase. I refer to it as staircasing because I think it starts here. And I think it goes across all these tracks. Oh, wow. Why am I hearing drums? Oh, because the snare drum's still, okay, I got it. It's freaking out there for a second. And then we go to those tracks. And you go to those tracks. So it's staircase. So instead of just having it all on kind of one track, it's staircased across a couple other ones. Not my favorite way of working. I think you should be able to, again, I don't know what they're thinking and why they did this, but you can usually just put this stuff up on one track and it should be okay. We'll address that when we get there. There's quite a bit of vocals. You can see the vocals down here as well. And no toms. No Tommy Toms here. So our drums are kick, mono, snare, mono, stereo overheads, and stereo rooms. So our mono room. So our drums are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks. So I wanted to point that out, but also keep in mind, you don't need, it's not necessary all the time to have 50 tracks for drums, or 22. you know who you are, but it does sound good when they record the drums like that. But I just never use all those tracks. But you can hear the drums here with these 5 tracks that we're working with. So if you only have, 8 or 16 tracks to work with, if you're doing a live off the floor recording or trying to get all your beds together for the whole band, you can get a lot with just the 5 tracks of drums here. But what I wanted to point out is the toms. There's a couple drum fills with toms on here, and we can still, as long as we can see the transient and we can hear where it was in whatever order you want to listen to me when I'm talking. As long as you can hear it, you can still lay a sample in, even though you don't have a rack tom track or a floor tom track or whatever. We could still lay samples in, no problem. Using programs like Trigger, which we used on the last mix, you can still lay in anything and then trigger off of that, or you can get your own tom samples out and drop those in, and that will work as well. So there's nothing like crazy out of the norm to work on with this one. So just gonna start digging in here. Just give me a second here. So where I would like to start, first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and save as here. I have a hotkey for this, so I can just hit Shift Command S. I can put a little tutorial together how to do that in Mac OS, so you can make your own hotkeys. I'm just gonna call this Mix Prep 1. Again, I make a lot of different versions of stuff. If you want to save as, go up here, save as. I recommend highly to save often. What I'd like to do first out of the gate here is I'm going to go to the beginning of this. I'm going to go up to the beginning of the song here. It's going to delete what's there. I'm going to put this on absolute grid. I'm going to put this on bars and beats. I'm going to put that on bars and beats. And I'm going to bring this over to, let's start on bar 11. I think that's good. I like to just have a little bit of a space to be working. So next thing I want to do, let's just listen to our drums for a second here. Just gonna highlight all that. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and make a drum group, because I know that all drums. So I know I'm going to need that. Okay, I'm taking that count in. That count in means we've got a tempo. I'm going to put tab to transient on there. 1, 2. 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that should be 4 bars. I'm going to identify a beat here. It's Command I. So let's make that one bar 4, and we'll make this bar 8. Should be it. Now this is giving us a tempo of 79.7955, which is one of my favorite tempos. But we should round it up to 80, because I think that's probably what it's going to be. So I'll go back to the beginning of the session, and I'll go up here to where it says tempo. I'll click on that, put that at 80. So this should work. This should work. I'm going to move this back to bar 11, put it on grid mode. Your function keys, F keys, 1, 2, 3, and 4, those select the different modes in Pro Tools. So you can shuffle, slip, spot, and grid. But we're gonna stay in slip mode while we're putting our stuff together here. I'm gonna go back to our drums. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna bring this down here. I'm gonna make a group that's called, so just Command G, all tracking. So what I want to do here, so we know that, so now this lets me edit everything. That's the downbeat of our kick. I'm going to break that. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the song. I'm going to delete that. Why am I doing that? Give me a second here. I'm going to drag this whole song over to bar 11. This looks pretty good. Other thing I'm going to do, just in case, I'm going to make a new track here. Make a new track. I'm going to make an aux track. I'm going to call this click. I'm going to put a metronome in. So let's go to Inserts Modules. I'm going to go to Instrument. I'm going to go click 2. That's our standard one in Pro Tools here. Just to check, I'm going to turn this down just in case it's loud. Our preview here, I'm going to mute that just in case. We can hear that wonderful sound of that beepy click track. Everyone loves that. I'm just going to skip over here. Because they may have started with a tempo, and then it may have slid. Because I feel like it slid right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say drummer was on the click until like here. Because then they slowed down. Give me a second here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to try one more thing here. If you just hit 7 on the number pad, you can turn on or off this kind of Pro Tools click. Up here, you'll see where the actual icon is for it. So we'll turn that off. 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2. Something was throwing me there. Okay, there might be a little bit of singer-songwriter going on there. That should be 3 bars. So I'm going to go identify beat again. So that should be 15 up to bar 18. This is saying 78.6104, which is one of my least favorite tempos. But what we're going to do is we're going to put this in. This I would not recommend what I'm doing right now. But we're going to put that at 78. I'm just curious. No, it's too slow. So we may be on tempo for like the first bit and then... Because usually there's no like 0.5 or anything that we're doing with our tempos. Okay, so I'm gonna guess. Just gonna bring this all back to 80. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go to the end of the song. 3, 4, 3, 2. All right, so we've got another 4 bars here. Let's see what we got. Okay, we're just going to mash this in at, we'll make that 78, and we'll make that 82. So that's saying 77.6. Okay, so we're slowing down. Don's saying definitely off tempo. I wouldn't say off tempo because you don't have to play to a click. Should, but you don't have to play to the entire time. I highly recommend it though. It just makes a few things a little bit easier, and it makes the band sound tighter. But again, this is how it goes sometimes. So we're gonna go with our starting tempo is 80. We've moved everything over, so we have a little bit of room to play with at the beginning there. We can see our kind of stick clicks there. Instantly slows down. Okay, that's fine though. We can still live with this, with what's going on. So we'll call that the intro. We'll call this here. We'll call that the count in, just so we have it. What we could do actually, because we're dangerous here. I'm actually just gonna grab. We don't have like this is. We don't need to be doing this right now, but I'm kind of in the mood to do this. So I'm just gonna put these stick clicks in, so we have a 4 count to start. 3. That should be fine. I mash buttons on the keyboard a lot. That's why sometimes it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that one's kind of off there. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just make our own everything here. So I'm just gonna do this, and I'll just delete that. So we can actually just this is like way beyond scope of what we actually need to do. Let's consolidate that, and let's copy those over. 3, 4. There we go. At least the click's in time. We have that. That's the important bit. Okay, so we're gonna go with 80 all the way down to like 76. So if we needed to time this track, we probably could, but it'd just be a huge headache. So we'll iron out anything that might be a thing. So Pat's saying if you track with Don and Kate singing on it down in mix. Well, again, we'll have to talk about that. We'll have to talk about that after. It's just I know what I came here to do, and if there's other things that people want me to do, we need to talk about that later. It's only so many hours in the week to get through these. Okay, so we got that done. We've established we have like a starting tempo, but we don't have a tempo for the entire song. So that's going to take out timing the drums the way that I would normally do it. Not nailing it to the grid, but it just makes it a lot quicker. Let's start going over our tracks here. And I'm only saying this because now that we've moved everything over and we've got that sorted, one of the other first things I like to do is we have all these tracks selected. And you just hold shift to go down to your bottom track. And if you hold shift and option, go to your playlist selector and go to duplicate, we can duplicate this, and you'll see over where our tracks are here on the left-hand side. We now have a copy, so if we do anything to these tracks, we can always go back in time should the band or artist request something that was what was going on in a previous life cycle here with the song. We can always go back to it easily. So I usually just make the track just .c for a comp, or that's the one we're working with. We can make that snare.c, that's snare drum. Snare top, actually, should be more specific with that one. Overheads, I usually say OH. And I want to have a listen just to hear for player perspective or our audience perspective. All right, our snare drum, for me, just checking, snare drum's on the left side for me. Hi-hat's on the left too. All right, so to me, we have player perspective. So I feel like I'm on the drums. I don't like that. So I'm gonna move that over. So now I feel like I'm looking at the drums. So now the hi-hat's on the right. So we'll just say low. Let's name it like that. Low to high. We'll make it sound like a 90s boy band. Low to high. Okay, that sounds good. All right, and then our rooms here. ride cymbal, I hear that on the left, which is where it should be if it's a right-handed drummer. Everything sounds pretty up the middle. I don't think it's gonna. Oh, well, also, duh, it's mono, so it doesn't even matter. I'm just wasting everybody's time. Okay, so that's fine there. I'm gonna turn off all tracking. We don't need that. So we have our drums. We have a group for that. Bass, DI. That acoustic guitar. It's in stereo. So we'll see what's going on with that. We'll see if that's actually 2 different performances, or if it's 2 different microphones. I think it's 1 performance, 2 microphones. So something like that right out of the gate, I'm going to lean on that because I think it sounds pretty good. Yeah, so a little bit of jazz on that chord. All right, I'm not sure what the placement is or anything on that. I don't think it matters that much. Acoustic guitar, that sounds pretty good. What is this? Electric guitar, mic 1 and 2. Okay. All right, so we can start renaming this. So let's call this guitar 1. Call that 1, 1, and we'll call this 1, 2. And we'll call this guitar 2, 1. Just stay with me for a second here. And we'll call this 3, 1. And we'll call this 3, 2. We'll call this 4, 1. We'll figure out what we actually need in a minute. We're just kind of getting it organized here. And then we have 5, 1. And then we'll have 5, 2. They're really liking the electric guitar. So I feel like electric guitar player might have something to do with financing this, because there seems to be a lot of guitar tracks. Lead vocals, so we'll call that Vox lead 1. I'm just joking. I don't actually know any of the inner workings of this band. Sometimes I just make little stories up in my head about what may have happened, because it just spend a lot of time alone when you're working on these things. So, and we'll just rename this, call that background 3, and we'll make that 4. And I think that's everything. There's not a ton of tracks here really, which is nice. Not that more tracks make your song better, or like less tracks make your song better, but okay. So we got all our tracks renamed here. We have our drums, bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and vocals. So we have 5 elements. So let's go ahead and new track. So Shift Command N. I can hold Command and then use the right directional pad to change the track from mono to stereo. I can use the down button to go to, I've passed it, I missed my turn, aux input. So you're going to make 5 aux inputs. I'm going to rename them in a second here. So we're going to have our drum master. We'll have our bass master and acoustic guitar. I will just call it acoustic. We know it's an acoustic guitar. We can do that. Guitar master and Vox. So we use, those are all our subgroups. I want my acoustic guitar to be up there. I just realized, I just like decided that in real time. I'm going to bring our bass up. Even though we only have 1 bass track, I still use my subgroups as dividers. Whatever works for you. Some people like to do a whole lot of color coding of their tracks. I am not one of those people. I like to keep this pretty bland. Not quite oatmeal, but there's definitely some berries and cinnamon on it. But for the most part, I like to keep Pro Tools pretty bland. Although like I do have like multicolored tracks here, but it's not like full on like Vegas disco circus mode where like you can color everything in here. That's not how I spend my time. Usually it's trying to get motivated to to work on some of these things if I'm not particularly in the mood, but I'm in the mood to work on this. Okay, so I got this all separated right here. I need to go ahead and route these to where they need to be going. If you're not sure what's going on with your I/O, your inputs and outputs, you can go up to setup. I usually just leave everything default. I don't know why I just added something there. It doesn't look very default to me. That should be good. And then our buses. I don't name my buses. If you want to name your buses, you can just go to your bus here and then double click it and call this like drums master. If you wanted to do that. And then when you come over here, and you go to your buses, it would say drum master there, but I'm not one of those. So I'm actually going to go and undo that because it freaks me out. I have kind of my ways of working. One thing I did mention before, I mentioned a few times, I'm trying to not bring in any of my templated stuff for mix. I'm trying to start new with this and just kind of work away so people can see how things happen. Because when you start bringing in some of your templated stuff, like your templated, chains for your subgroups and vocal chains, and you can kind of miss a whole bunch of stuff when you're just tweaking a few things. But starting fresh is kind of a different take on it. So these outputs, I want to put this to my drum subgroup. So I'm going to go to bus. I do my drums on bus 1 and 2. Someone at home's probably like, you could just rename it if you always use the same buses. But I like when it says bus 1 and 2. It just makes me feel more comfortable. Our bass, I should put that out 5/6, even though it's mono. I'll put it at 5/6 anyways, in case I want to do something to it. Guitars, I do those out. I put those out 3 and 4. So I'll go up to bus 3 and 4. And put that in solo safe, holding command. If you click the S, you can put these in solo safe. So when you solo any of your drum stuff, if it's not in solo safe and your drums are soloed or any tracks are soloed, you won't actually hear it through your subgroup. So again, holding command and then clicking on it, put it in solo safe. And now the world's better. Our acoustic guitars, I don't have a set one for those. So let's put those out 17, 18. That sounds like a good bus for that. So put that out there and solo safe. And then vocals 7 and 8. I don't always have acoustic guitars. I don't always have like keyboards or anything like that, but I usually have drums, usually have bass, usually have guitar, usually have vocals. So that's kind of my buses 1 through 8 will take care of those ones. All right, so this is all heading out our main buses right now. I don't know why the output on that master there was going to the drum bus. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so we have a group for our drums. We don't need a group for our bass. Let's have a group for our guitars. So select everything, Command G, all guitars, and we'll do one for all our vocals. I'm going to mute this. I'm going to start muting things. It's a great way too when everything is everything's grouped. So you can just pull all those faders down at the same time. I think Patterson's trying to get some record deals happening in the chat. Be careful. Be careful as record execs in the chat. And Patterson, you got to be fair, handing out those deals. Can't just be hanging out telling everyone they're going to be a star. Well, it's kind of that easy these days. You just get some money together. Get some reach on TikTok. So, okay. So we've got all we have. I gotta stop saying that. We have all the faders pulled down here. When we had the master fader here, I kind of just use it for now as a meter. I don't really do anything with it. It stays where Patterson's hashtag scouting. I like it. Just kind of use that for meters, but I also use my subgroups as meters. I don't move these faders around at all. So first thing we're going to do here, I'm gonna unmute all our drums. Just kind of listen through. Just kind of put faders up. I like to get my levels sorted from my kick drum. Usually try to have the peak around, say, -6, -10 dBFS, decibels full scale. How loud it is for you right now. Probably not that loud. Okay. So we can kind of start setting our levels here. I'm going to go over to a different part of the song where there's a little bit more happening. I think the chorus is about there. we can definitely use some, I don't want to do any clip gain or anything. We can use some compression and some EQ and stuff. We're getting quite a bit of good stuff off of that. Let's turn this up a little bit. Quite a bit of good stuff happening off that room mic. Drums sound like a little bit woolly, but that's okay as far as like not. We're seeing some of the top end and. Sorry, I was reading the chat there. Don just got signed to Road. Congratulations, Don. Katie got signed to Earache Records. Congratulations, Katie. Earache Records is pretty good. I wonder if that's a real thing. Okay, so we got our drums up here. We're just looking at our master fader over here, our main output. Looks fine. Just gonna keep pushing some faders up here. We need to get an amp together for that bass sound there. Let's have a listen to our guitars here. So these are different. Got to put my output on it. Just 1 second here. Just done clowning around here. I don't think I did the same thing. Yeah, I got to put the input 780. Try to be prepared. I'm just moving stuff around right now. Because we'll figure this out because there's 2 microphones on one guitar. So we'll figure out which one sounds better to us. And then we'll kind of go from there. And those are all guitar solos. That's 2. And that turns into guitar solo? Yeah. So we'll just put that right up the middle. Yeah, we'll figure out which one's kind of doing it for us. So we don't need to have all these tracks for guitars. And they're recorded kind of low. I usually would say like it's fine recording low, but we can definitely bring those up a little bit. So, all right, so all those look good. Okay, acoustic guitar. I have a lot riding on this acoustic guitar to be able to pull a lot of stuff together. Again, recorded a little bit low, but we can figure that out. We could use clip gain to bring it up if we wanted to, but I'm going to get that from some of the plugins just to bring the trim up a little bit. All right. Just going to listen to the vocal here. I feel like I'm not hearing headphones. I feel like I'm hearing actual like bleed in the ISO booth. Which would make sense if they were recording it kind of live together and just did some overdubs after. Okay, we went right into the guitar solo. That's on me.
I saw this easy river flow last time in winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. I'm coming back across, I always notice
sounds pretty good.
subtle graces in the Mississippi. Far away, far away.
Okay, I'm just going to point this out.
Far away,
It may sound like there's a little bit of a tick there in edit.
far away, far away.
That might actually be what actually happened. It's not beyond belief for the voice to kind of hit these little bubbles sometimes and to actually hear some of those sounds. So let's go listen to the other one here. So there's a double here with the vocals.
Far away,
Sometimes, trying to think of a way to word this. Yeah, I basically refer to sometimes just hiding the body. Sometimes there's something where you're like, that's not ideal, but it still needs to be in the mix. We just got to figure out a way to make it work. Because we have 2 vocal tracks there that are doing the same thing. Sometimes you can take the lower vocal track, because I rarely would have both of them up at the same level. Again, which you could do. So sometimes I would take the lower vocal and use that kind of as a backup for Band-Aids. And you can just kind of toss that onto the louder track, and it'll be fine. So we might do that there, but we'll see what's happening when we get to that part.
Chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways.
Because it's going to sound a little bit phasey with both vocals up before they're prepped. So it's going to go over here. So listen to the backups.
Sets the tempo and the pace. Going far.
That's a good line.
Away. I'm going far away.
Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. That's a good line. Okay, so we have all our tracks up, kind of a listen through of what's going on. I'm going to, because we don't have a tempo-y tempo, so I'm going to listen through one more time. How much time is it? Okay, 4-minute song. That's not too bad. We're just going to listen through. We're just going to drop in some markers, and I'm going to make a couple more notes, and then we'll start digging in on some of the other prep and editing and just kind of doing some EQing and stuff. I'll be in and out of the headphones this session as well. Just, yeah. Because I realize like there's some things I really can't comfortably do in headphones, and it takes me less time to just use my speakers, -10. So listening through, I'm going to drop in some markers. So when I'm dropping in markers, I'm just hitting enter on the number pad, or you can also hit the little plus sign over here. If you don't see that, you can go up here and you can select all the different stuff you want to see up there. I highly recommend bars and beats, minutes and seconds, markers, tempo, and meter. All that is good. And then down here, what we see on our edit window, I recommend having your inserts A to E. So if you want to drop in a EQ or compressor or anything, it's really quick to do that. You're in I/O or inputs and outputs in track color. Again, I use all the default track colors and everything, but I feel like I can see enough of what's going on when I do that. So let's listen through, drop in some markers. This is our intro. This intro, again, the song is good. I like a lot of things about the song, but it's one of those things where like the intro could be half the length. That's just me. And verse.
Chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward.
I'll try my best to like stay focused, because quite often I'll start doing something else, just watching Walking Dead or something, and then forget what you're doing. Re-intro 4. Because we're not into the pre-chorus or anything. We're not into the chorus. We'll just call that the re-intro. Verse 2.
Summer glow coming back across. I always notice subtle graces, and the Mississippi River sets the tempo.
Then we're into the chorus.
Going far.
Let's call that C1. Call it the tag.
Still to come back home to
Call it re-intro and solo, because we are into the solo there. So actually, we'll just call that the solo. Don said, you read my mind about your headphones being on. What do you mean? I can't remember what I said about headphones. Call this third verse. Could also, because there's no real bridge in this song.
These little journeys do their parts to work for all of us. 'Cause when you leave the summer,
I'm not really hearing any compression or anything on the vocals, which is kind of good because you can put your own on. Chorus, second one. Call this tag.
Better still to come back home to blue.
Call this outro because we're kind of getting there. This is acoustic guitar solo. No, it's down there. Don says you prefer to not use them when mixing. Well, yeah, I prefer to use my speakers. I trust my speakers more than headphones, but I do think these headphones sound pretty good and they're very comfortable.
Many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill.
Let's call that outro with Vox. Slowing down at the end there. And we should probably be done there. Okay, when I do the fade out at the end, usually just put a blank marker on there. And then just because we're thinking about it, I'm going to put a blank one there too. That's kind of how I set things up when I'm exporting songs, the blank one at the beginning and at the end. Patterson was saying the dead walk sounds creepy. It was creepier in the beginning when Walking Dead, to the first 6 episodes, they had a lot more budget and they lost the budget and then they had to move out to a farm, or so the legend says. Okay, so that's our listen through for that. We have our markers dropped in. Also, just with the way the dynamics and arrangement works in the song, it's nice to be able to just look at it. At least for me, you can just look at it of where we need to be going here. So that all looks pretty good. There's a couple drummy things, but we'll address those later on. Just a couple other things that I like to do just so it's easier on my eyes. These are all kind of full tracks right here. I usually just double click to select the whole thing. I can hit Command U and we can put in strip silence. This kind of cleans up the beginning and the ending. Pro Tools? Okay. Beginning and ending of some of these sounds that are here, these audio blobs that are here. Because I don't like seeing things that are not actually being used. So that's a quick way to do this a little bit here. I'm going to go do the same thing on that one. And it's going to rip through these quick here. You don't have to do this. I like just being able to see quickly and easily where everything is. So even like down here, just it gives me anxiety seeing all that extra audio blob that's there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's just work our way up, just kind of tidying up some of the fades here. So it's our bass track here. We'll start getting some sounds together in the near future. That looks pretty good. Oh, we're ending it with our harmonic. That's some fancy pants stuff right there. I knew there's some fancy bass stuff going on. Let's start putting some more groups in here. So I'm gonna turn our groups back on. If you want to suspend your groups, it's Shift Command G, and you'll see it kind of become grayed out. Don saying, is there enough background vocals in this song to bother with them? What do you mean bother with them? Make that guitar 5. Just going to turn these into groups so it's a little bit easier for editing. Make that guitar 4. I'm just going to bring this up so people at home can actually see what's happening in there. Make that guitar 3. Gemma's here. How's it going, Gemma? Just stopping by. Nice to see you too, Gemma. Hope you're feeling okay. Saw some of your posts on Facebook there. And make that guitar 1. So this, by just having those groups there, so I can turn off our vocals, guitars, and drums for now, but at least I have those groups there, so it's a little bit easier for me to go in and just tidy up some of the edits here. So it's going to use the trimmer tool just to kind of pull that back a little bit, and then just... You don't have to do this, but this just, again, helps me sleep at night. So we'll put that on there. If you need to increase the visual size of your tracks, you can hold Command Option and then open and close bracket. So it's a little bit easier to see what's going on. And we'll just tidy that up. And we'll go with this next one up here. See, like there is some noise there. I don't know if you'll hear that, probably not, but I'd rather just edit it out. Because we can, just to tidy it up a little bit. Jim says, will you be separating them too? Oh yeah, no, I'll go through and tidy up everything. Again, with the food and cooking analogies, I just think of it as you're about to start cooking, so like, let's get all our ingredients. Let's look through everything so we're not picking out. We'll see if that's bugging us with the little finger noises and stuff in there. So that way we're not trying to pick stuff out of our super stew later on. So you want to fade that out. That looks pretty good. And this guitar number 2. If I focus, I can do this stuff pretty quickly. But again, I'm usually distracted. It's like every day. It's emails. People calling. I'm not a phone person. Some people know that. I'm not a phone person. And they'll try calling, and they'll go to voicemail. Phones give me anxiety. And so there's a gap here. There's nothing going on. Like things like that, we can go through and just put a little fade on that. And how's that? Looks pretty good. And we'll go up to this one. What's going on here? I think this is our kind of our main guitar. And get that. I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't actually like. I feel like I'm a lot more polite to some of the tracking when I'm listening to it here, but yeah, there's a lot of things I like about the song. So this, we can tidy that up. And I think... Oops, wrong fade. There we go. Looks pretty good. All right, so we're into our background vocals. So we can group those together. So Vox, BG, 3, 4. All that can go there. That can go. That can go. Far away. Far. It's a lot of really digging in on the F for far away there. Far away. Tune that up. Far away. Again, there's not a lot like this. These are pretty clean. It's just for me. Like there's some noise there. So we can just clean that up. All stuff we don't want in the soup. Really leaning on that F there. It's a lot of f to get going. A lot of wind up. Even the timing on some of this, like these could be a little bit tighter, but the kind of song that it is and the recording that it is, I don't think we need to tighten it up too much. You can tighten up things a lot using Melodyne. 1 second here. 2. But you also use a plugin called Vocaline, which is pretty fantastic for tightening stuff up. I do most of the tightening. 1 second. So right there, like I would go and clean that up because I hear 2 sets of breathing, inhaling there. Because that helps when you're singing to be able to get air into your lungs. So we have breathing up here, and then to have more breathing down there. There's a lot of breathing and breaths going on. So I would go through and clean that stuff up. Your lead vocal track, I highly recommend considering leaving a little bit of breathing in. It can be a little bit creepy sounding when people just shout without actually needing to take air in. So just cleaning this up. Patterson's still making deals in the chat. That wasn't part of the deal, Patterson. All right, so cleaning that up a little bit. So that's going to help. So we'll go to the last one here. We'll just call that Vox lead. Lead 1 and 2. And we'll just clean these ones up as well.
I chase the shadows of. I chase the shadows of.
I still want to have that breath there, but I don't think we need that much of it. And we'll leave all the stuff in the middle in this one, between these 2 tracks, because they're singing the same thing. And if we need a band-aid, that's where we're gonna go.
I saw this.
Oh, my favorites. Little clicks here. We can probably just go ahead and just put a band-aid on that. So there's a little click here. If you can hear that at home. I heard it when it was playing through. One quick and easy for it, just go a little bit before it and just Command C and then Command D to duplicate. Sometimes you can just put a little bit of just paste over it. That should be fine. There's other, yeah, that works. There's other things we can use too. Isotope. There's the world always has mouths make so much noise. It probably sounds obvious, but yeah, isotope. Oh, there's another one over here. I'm just gonna axe that one.
But better still.
Isotope RX, fantastic for declicking and denoising tracks, so I do recommend investing in something like that should you be running up against a lot of these types of sounds. I have no idea. I just see Don saying Patterson being a naughty student. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to ignore whatever's happening in the chat right now. This is live. Please behave ourselves. That looks pretty good. There's some big gap over here.
But better still.
That sound, that is one of those sounds that's like all the time, everywhere, every recording. It's like that kind of dry mouth.
Back.
So we can get rid of that. Put a little fade on that. Hope it's not sounding too Bob Ross. We're just putting little fades, little happy fades over here. Lots going on there.
Many rows.
Just gonna pull that back a bit.
Many rows of hill. I think it's always been.
We haven't had to go through and automate breaths in between lines yet, because that's something pretty normal too. There's some plugins to kind of approach it, but it's easy enough just to go in and use clip gain to just grab that breath that's there and just bring the volume down using clip gain. So, all right, so we've cleaned up our tracks a little bit. This visually for me makes me feel better than seeing, what is it? because we have it playlisted, than seeing this. This freaks me out. So I like to see things a little bit tidier and cleaned up. So, time is it? Hour and 10 in already. Jeez. Okay, so where I would go from here. Where do I want to go from here? What is this?
I guess it
Oh, that's a little outro guitar part. Okay, so first thing, I'm going to leave our vocals for a bit. We'll sort those out in a bit. I'm going to go to our drums. And I just want to kind of get a sound together for those. Because I feel like I already know... I feel like I already know what our guitar sounds are probably going to be once I start EQing and stuff. So I'll pop the headphones off for that. But I'm just going to play around in the headphones for a bit, just to listen to what we have to work with our drums. Because there's also just that cross stick sound. I might bring one in, but I also might see if I can just hack one out of what's going on here, but I'm not sure because that ride cymbal is loud enough. I don't know if it's going to work properly. So let's kind of have a quick listen here. I might be able to. I think I can. Said confidently into the void. I'm going to just copy this. Yeah, I think that one sounds pretty good. So because I have tab to transient on, we can just hit tab. It'll go to the beginning of that. I'll grab this whole section here. So that's our cross stick. There's a little bit of hi-hat in behind that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new track here, and we'll call this X stick, and then we'll copy that down, or just cut it and paste it down there. I'm going to just a little bit at the top here. I'm going to put a fade on that just so it's back where it should be. And then this section, I'll put a fade on that too. And then I'm going to solo this track. That should be fine. So what I'm going to do next here, I'm going to go Shift, Option, and C. If you don't know what I'm doing, if you go to Edit and Consolidate Clip, this is going to make this a new waveform that we're working with here. So, Justin saying, Mike, have you seen Kevin Madison's new lyric breakdown series on YouTube? I have not. I've seen the thumbnails for it. I've not checked it out yet. How is it? I'm curious. As someone who's worked on 7 albums, I think I've done 6 or 7 Parabel albums, and then first 2 Evans Blue records. I know I've heard a lot of the lyrics, heard a lot of them, so I'm curious. So back here, sorry, I just hit the DS1 on my voice there. That's where the click comes in there. So we're gonna go to our tab to transient. What I refer to as loading up paintbrush here, not to get back to the Bob Ross stuff here, but that's where the cross stick stuff happens. And then back to the snare over there. So what I'm going to do is, because I can use the when we have edit keyboard focus engaged over here, which is our A to Z, P and semicolon, P goes up, semicolon goes down on our tracks, and then L goes to the left, and then apostrophe goes to the right. So we can actually just tab through this. And I'm just going to check. So that's pretty close, the way that the waveform wants to drop in there. So we're just putting this cross stick sample that we created from the track. And we can just go ahead here and just drop this in a little bit. It's just a little section, but instead of trying to do any automation on that cross stick to have it come out a little bit more, we can either bring a sample in, or we can just grab a little snippet from the actual song. So we drop that in there. Next thing I'm going to do is just go in and turn off tab to transient and just have a quick look to make sure this is fairly lined up. Usually don't care that much how much it's lined up, but we can just pull this back. I'm kind of lining up those 2 spikes there a little bit. And I'm not a stickler for So the pun there. I'm not a stickler for absolute phase locked insanity. Not insanity. It works for some people. I just don't think it matters that much for it to be fully phase aligned. It can be just eyeballed. Eyeball aligned is good. And looks pretty good. We're using the grabber tool, so we can just grab the whole audio clip and just bring it over. All right, so that should be there. And I'm just going to bring this down. So be a little more control over it. Also, if we want to do any EQ, we're not going to grab the hi-hat that's there as well. Just catching up visually on some stuff here. You know, I'll check out the Kevin Madison his lyric breakdown, because I'm curious to hear the angle on it. But definitely, like, the fans love the lyrics. They definitely love the lyrics. And as someone who's, again, worked on, like, I think it's 6 or 7 Parable records and a couple first 2 Evans Blue records, that was definitely one of the things too. It's just that the lyrics stood out for me as someone working on it, but also as a fan. It was definitely pretty deep some lyrics that were in there. So all right, so we got that laid in there. Where do I want to go from here? I'm not going to put any kick or snare samples in yet, because I feel like with how this track is, especially with only having 5 tracks of drums to work with, which reminds me, I'm going to go to our all drums here. I'm going to right click and go to modify. I'm going to add the cross stick that we just added. So I'm going to add those to our drum tracks. I feel like we can keep the drum kit sounding pretty wholesome. So all right, I'm going to hop out of my headphones for a second, because I'm not totally sure what I'm hearing in the low end on my headphones versus on my speakers. So be right back. All right, moving along here. I'm not going to put my headphones back on here yet. Justin's going to head out. Sounds good. Be here when you get back. I was messing around with just a couple EQ things here. I have that issue again where I use Option and drag stuff over, and sometimes it links the two of them, and then it starts moving one EQ, and I start moving the other one. So, gotta remember to turn that off. I think it's follow globals is the problem. I wish it just didn't do that, but whatever. I'm trying to use stock Pro Tools stuff, but one of the things I do like using on the channel strip is the where is it? Snare drum aggressive, and then I just turn off the EQ section, and we just use the compressor from it. So be right back. Okay, so we have our drums kind of roughed in. Again, I use the channel strip. I like whatever is going on with the compressor here. It seems to work pretty good for across the drum bus. For what we're doing here, also just drag it and throw it onto our main output, our master output over here as well. And let's kind of use it. So we're just kind of tapping that a little bit, just to kind of use it as a little bit of what's what I'm looking for, just to check the output, kind of like a speed limit on what's going on over there. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that bass DI. I'm going to get back to the speakers here in a second as well. I'm going to duplicate that bass DI, and so we'll have a new track here. Active playlist, sure. Alternative playlist, sure. Automation, nothing going on there. Bass assignment or group assignments. We'll get that sorted in a second, but I'm going to change this to the amp. And because we have two bass tracks now, we'll make a group here. So we'll call this all bass. And be right back. I'm just going to listen to some Sans amp bass stuff. That sounds pretty good over here. It's quite a difference between the DI and adding even just Sans Amp. Just a little bit of that goes a very long way. I'm just going to do the same thing with our guitars here. Just go through and do some quick EQing to see where we're at and use my speakers. Be right back. Okay, so did some roughing in of the EQ for guitars. I used, again, just using stock Pro Tools stuff, but just use the compressor. I said my mix template stuff, I'm trying not to use that, but presets are fair game. So I was just looking through, general limiting. It said 100-to-1, which is pretty aggressive, to say the least, but I just kind of threw it there. Bring the threshold down to see if it makes it sound better or worse. If it sounds better, just kind of notch it around a little bit. But overall, I think it was doing what I needed it to do to kind of bring the guitar levels up a little bit, but to also kind of park them for what we're doing. Parking for me is what I refer to as just using more or less limiters. Although we have a 4-to-1 ratio, which is still compression, but just kind of figure out where I can kind of see the meter kind of find its place, and just usually try to have the levels up around the -10 dBFS decibels full scale. I'm just gonna do some balancing here. I'll be back in the headphones very soon, I think. Be right back. Just gonna check the acoustics in my speakers as well, because I'm really hoping I can lean on those acoustics. They sounded good when I soloed them. So be right back. Saw Parms here, Complicit's here. Pro Tools EQ is the EQ. It's pretty good. It's pretty good as far as like stock EQs go. Like you can make a record with it. I like your crank R bass to 10 and call it a day. You can definitely do that as well. That's not my method of doing stuff. Again, not what you should do. What you could do is the plan here. Catching up here. Don saying, was there 2 guitars and a bass? There's acoustic guitar. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 electric guitar tracks. And then there's 1 bass. But I duplicated the bass so that we have just listening. So we have our DI bass, so that's straight down the cable. And then we also have our bass amp for Sans amp, but I'm probably gonna be fussing around with that a bit more because there's a lot of movement going on with the bass. And I want to make sure we can still hear that. So I don't want to put our bass on it to 10. I'm just joking. But there's still just finding a tone, just finding a balance, because some of the instrumentation, I feel like it's gonna come together better once we have a reverb sound. I think that's going to help put it in a room, because to me the acoustic guitar is super dry right now. Once we throw some reverb on that, it's going to help kind of give it a home as far as depth wise is concerned in the actual song. So I don't want to say I think this is sounding good yet, because there's definitely some things when I'm listening between my speakers, my little USB speaker I have in my headphones. Just things are kind of all over the place. We're just doing some setup today though. I'm going to put these back on here. I'm now curious what this sounds like in the headphones. And I fully expect it to sound like trash, because when you're listening on different speakers and you're still trying to get things together, and I might do things several times when I'm just kind of rebalancing things. And we haven't put the vocals back in yet either. I might throw some EQ and stuff on the vocals just to park those as well, but I'm just curious. That doesn't sound horrible. The thing too is I know in my mind where it can get to. And that's what I'm always trying to fight with when I'm mixing something. It's I get the tracks, I'm like, okay, I know in my mind what it should sound like. Parm saying our bass is the greatest of all time, second only to Sans amp. Not to say I haven't used our bass that much, but I like the things that I can get from Sans amp quite a bit. So, but again, appreciate it. Just about stuff in the comments below. What do I want to do here? This all looks like it's kind of doing the thing. If you ever want your plugin windows to stay up on top of the screen, you can hit this little button here, and that will stay there, because I just want to do some rebalancing quick. Just with our drums here. And it's going to turn on all our main groups here. Except for all tracking, that can stay off. So just want to just kind of touch that one over there for a little bit. Pleasant says, this song kind of reminds me of Weather Channel music, but I'm here for it. Great vibes. Well, without the vocal, yeah. I hear you on that. Patterson says, doesn't Dead Set use GarageBand? GarageBand is a great program. Fantastic program, but I do most of my recording in Pro Tools. I don't think it matters, though. Because I've heard lots of garbage in Pro Tools. I've heard lots of great stuff in GarageBand. And Ableton. And Logic. And Reaper. And Cubase. And FL Studio. There's like tuning stuff in here too that's kind of freaking me out. Okay, because there's tuning stuff, but I don't know if it's guitars, I don't know if it's bass. So what we're going to do, sometimes I typically, Don says just crank that bass to 10. We're good. Well, I guess we could just have all bass all the time. That can be a special episode, just super bass episode. I normally would dump all my bass stuff into Melodyne to just kind of give it a dusting that way. But for what we're doing, I'm just going to use Waves real time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And we'll just go where do I want to go. I didn't make a bass preset for this. Let's grab it a little bit, but it might not be seeing it because the waveform might be too low. Okay, so we brought that up a little bit. I'm just going to bring that up 6 dB. So yeah, it's pulling it down a little bit. I'll bring that one up 6 dB too. Just using clip gain for it just to keep it simple. And we'll figure it's probably smashing everything in front of it now, but we'll figure that out. Yeah, it's a little heavy-handed over here. We'll just bring the level down. So it's probably just dusting a little bit with tuning here. Yeah, it's pretty quick. It's funny, I'll change things in solo and then I'll just go right back and change it again. Parm says, if your guitar was out of tune, I'm re-recording it and not telling you. Oh, the coarse editing. There's things that I would do that too, but if I'm just, like, real talk, if I'm getting paid to just mix something, we're going to mix it. And we're going to go with what's kind of there. Because I hear you when you're retracking stuff. It is a can of worms. I'm going to bring our acoustic guitars up too. It's such a can of worms that it's like, either it's good enough to work with or respectfully decline. Also, what we can do sometimes too is just throw some chorus on it. Good old chorus. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna hop out. There's still stuff going on with that snare drum where I'm trying to not reach into the sack of samples we have to get some top end definition on it. But that could be a next time thing. And for now, we could just kind of leave it. Patterson, I have no idea what you're talking about in the chat. Sometimes I'll just look over and I just see a bunch of words and question marks. And I just don't even know. All right, be back one more time. I'm just gonna check the vocals quick.
I chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. I chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. I chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever west. I chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. I chase the shadows of this truck on humid highways. The morning sun behind me bows in ever westward glow. The many rows of corn blur on the downside of the blue hill. I think it's always been this way, and I guess it always will. I chase the shadows of the chase the shadow. I saw this easy river flow last time in winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. Coming back across, I always notice subtle graces. And the Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. Going far away. I'm going far away. Oh, I'm going far away.
Okay, just doing some rebalancing. Because as we're going, there's things I'm like, okay, I know what I want to do there, but I'll do it later. I saw in the comments, sweet lyrics. I agree. The lyrics are, every line is pretty good in this song. It's not a lot of reallys and justs and stuff like that. There's lots of great stuff in this song.
If absence makes the heart grow fonder, I would reckon.
All right, we got quite a bit happening in here. That's my microphone. I was just wondering where the hiss was coming from. Last couple things I want to do, because we're already 2 hours into this. Despite the technical hiccups when we first started, I was just waiting. I was waiting for Restream to say, like, hey, you're live. That's why I have the computer over here, too. I'm reaching over here. I have 2 computers so I can see what's going on. While we're here, let's, I know I'm going to use our effects track, so let's go ahead and make 3 aux inputs here. I use mono. I use mono effects because then I can put a stereo effect onto the actual aux. So we'll call this one delay short because we know we're going to have a short one and we're going to have a delay long. So we're going to have a long one and a reverb. Actually, just for the folks at home, I'll just actually type that on there. So it says reverb. I'm going to go ahead and let's go grab our stock Pro Tools mod delay. So I use a stereo delay on the mono aux track because it may seem really weird to do that. I haven't felt like having stereo auxes has made me do better in life. But I like the idea where I can just use one bus instead of needing to use a stereo bus in order to put our effects on it. We had a lot of success with illustrious plates last time, so let's just go straight for there. Sometimes if you want to get out of the maze, just go for it. Don't pretend you're searching for a bit. So illustrious plates was fantastic last time. What one did we use? I thought one of these said Grammy winning. I was like, let's just use that and call it a day. What do we want to use? I like that large dark vocal. I think we need that. So I think the song to me, it's kind of bittersweet. Because we got our auxes here, make sure to put those on solo safe. So we'll hold command and click those S's there. Let's just go straight to our vocal chains here. So we'll put bus 9 for a short delay. We'll put bus 10 for our longer delay, and then bus 11 for our illustrious plate here. Let's just go straight for that. Let's listen. No, let's go over to the cross stick over here, and we'll put the reverb on that. Just out of curiosity. Again, we all have our things we do. I usually try to put 9, 10, and 11 on respective sends B, C, and D. Okay, so I just wanted to go over here because this is a nice clean sample we have here. So I'm going to solo this. There. Oh, I'm a silly goose here. So I got to put I got inputs on our buses here. So 9, 10, and 11. There we go. I just like to use my drums to kind of set the length of my reverbs. I highly recommend timing your effects. That sounds pretty good. I don't really know what, like, I imagine these are all, that sounds pretty good. The carbamite plate sounds that sounds expensive. I might have to add a sample for that snare. I know what it should do, and I feel like I keep cranking. I feel like I keep cranking the high end on it. I'm gonna try one more thing, just so that I can go to bed knowing that I tried a little bit. back to where the snare comes in.
Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. Coming back across, I always notice subtle.
I know what I need from it. I really do. And I don't feel like I'm going to get there from that. So, because we can put people on the moon, I'm just going to throw some samples on that next time. And just to get the top end, just a little bit of the, what's it called? A little bit of the definition from the top end of the snare. Because it's like, the snare sounds good, but also I'm the type of drummer, I'm throwing my hands. I'm the type of drummer where I'm rim shots all the time. I don't hit the center of the snare drum very often. It's usually center and the rim at the same time to get that sound out of it. So let's throw some reverb on this vocal here. Go ahead and throw our pull tech on our lead vocal. I have a feeling it's going to be there. I could find it. Did I make a preset for this? No, I didn't. It's really like the whole recording to me is pretty dark tone wise, but we can get there. There's a lot of things we can do to kind of brighten things up a little bit and get more definition and detail in it. But I'm holding off putting that onto my 2 mix right now because I'm seeing where I'm listening to where some of the trouble spots might be, and to kind of bring that instead of just throwing, you know, an EQ on our overall mix and just cranking it up. Maybe that's a quicker way to do it. If we had 4 hours, that's probably what we're going to do. But for what we're doing right now, we have time to mess around. Just kind of listen to what's going on, because I know next time is going to be some more editing and prep and just kind of ironing some of that stuff out. We had the reverb to the vocal. I'm in winter. Oh, but this morning so that's pretty good. Let's gonna see what's going on with the short delay here. I'm coming back across, I always notice subtle graces in the Mississippi. It's kind of like a slap delay. It's pretty good. We end at a different tempo, so I'm gonna turn that off and I'm gonna put that at 78. It's always good to get away. Just a little slap delay there. Is there like a dance party sing along going on in the chat right now? I'm in winter. Same thing here. I'm going to turn sync off and put this on 78. Excuse me. It's just chaos right now. Complete chaos. So that's our longer delay. It's always good to get away, but better still to come back home in winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer. Might be too much on that delay there. We'll figure that one out. Sets the tempo and the pace. I'm going far away. I'm going I don't know, kind of like that. I am crushing my vocal right now with compression and limiter. It's just to park it so I can kind of hear what's happening. Which probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but just go with it. Again, like I have a sound in my head of what the bass should sound like.
In winter. Oh, but this morning burns a Memphis summer glow. Coming back.
Okay, I might ditch the longer delay because it's kind of distracting right now. You might use it as a throw later.
Mississippi River sets the tempo and the pace. Going
How do I do this?
far away.
Because I think I like the delay there.
Far away. Oh, I'm going far away. It's always good.
Yeah, the first two we could probably put a throw on that. So we'll make a mental note.
Better still to come.
We'll just make a writing down note. Put exclamation points on it so don't forget. What time is it? It's 2 hours and 15 in. We're good right now for time. What do I want to do? Okay. I'm just gonna go for it. Because we can chat for a bit. If anyone has any questions about things, I'm just gonna. I would normally. 1 second. I'm just gonna grab a snare sound here. That looks good. Don't ask me what I'm looking for. I know what I like when I see it. So I'm just gonna grab this snare sound here. That's pretty good. Just going to put a little fade on that. Put a fade on that. We're just gonna use that to trigger our snare sample. So I'm just gonna do that. Because it'll only take a couple minutes to do this, and I feel like this is gonna make the world better here. Because I know what I'm missing, and if it's not there, at least I tried. That's what life is about. It's about effort. Effort doesn't mean rewards, though. Some people, especially in the music business, it's like some people try really hard and they get really kind of mad that like they're not seeing the fruits of the labor, and it's like, well, effort's just the easy part. The hard part is making sure that what you're doing is what people actually want. And then making peace with the idea that what you like might not be what other people like. Because that's the thing. It's finding that apex, that pivot point where you can do what you want to do, but also what other people are expecting of you as an artist. You can't just go into someone's house, start painting it the way that you think it should be, unless you're hired to do that. And that's completely different. But most of the time, they know the color of the walls they want, or they know if they want wallpaper. These are the thoughts that go through my mind when I'm spending countless hours alone, laying in snare samples. When I was starting, because I did quite a bit of editing, and on some of the sessions, I would be in a different room, and I'd hear off to the side all the laughter and joy and fun and everything that's going on in the main tracking room, and I'd be by myself putting in samples. That's okay though. That's where you start. Although I don't think anyone does that anymore, because like everyone just kind of, with shrinking budgets, unless you want to abuse an assistant or something like that, it's like with shrinking budgets, it just do it yourself. Just put something on TV and do it yourself. We're talking about tambourine. We could use tambourine in this song. We really could. If this song was to a tempo, I could just bring in. There's a program. Excuse me. I might put tom samples in too. There's a program I use called Shimmer Shake Strike, and it just makes putting in tambourine stuff really easy. Like hilariously easy. Like internally I'm laughing right now at all the time I'd spend, you know, recording tambourine and shakers and stuff. So I usually have at least 4 per song that I'm working on if I'm producing it. Okay, something like this. I'm going to grab this whole section and... Oh, I pressed the wrong button because I'm a fool. So I'm going to copy and bring that whole part down. And then I'm going to see how it sounds, what it wants to grab as far as what trigger it wants to grab from that. I will tell you, when a song is not 6 minutes long, it's a lot quicker. Then again, there was a lot of kick stuff in the last song, but it did help because I was missing the subs, the lower frequencies, but I'm hearing them nicely. I feel like you can tell someone's been watching a lot of political pressers when they use wording and phrasing like that. Okay, so we laid in all those samples there. I'm just going to go through and just have a quick check for how our fades looks. That looks good. We need some triangle in the song too. You know, you got to pick your spots. I'm just looking through right now, just making sure that the phase here is lined up. I'm seeing a lot of emojis with tears. Are those tears of joy? Tears of laughter? I wonder if my lovely wife is waiting for like super loud metal to start blasting from down here. She's very, very understanding and very accepting of my lifestyle. That being loud music, possibly all hours of the day and night. There's only been a couple times though where it's been like 3 in the morning. I'm like, I have to finish this and I need to make sure the air is moving. And she'd be like, yeah, whatever. It's all good. At least I give people a heads up about it. All right, so that's that. Oh, we've fallen off the edge of the Pro Tools universe. There we go. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to add trigger onto this because it's fantastic. I don't know where it is, though. I'm just going to go up to the search function. There we go. Hopefully it doesn't crash Pro Tools. It did not. I'm going to go grab... what do I want to use here? Main rock snare. Again, I just... presets are okay. I'm trying to not drag in template stuff. Don says, are you going to bring this song under 4 minutes? I think it is close to 4 minutes. It's 3:46. So it is under 4 minutes. So I just laid all the samples in there for trigger. I'm just going to go over here. Can't see. So again, I just use underscore and then snare, so I know that that's where my sample is. Just gonna have a listen here. So that's without. I can hear the snare drum, but it's just like, just to get the levels up. So this is with. Let's put that through our drum bus. So I just wanted to get that top end on the snare. That's all I was going for. Made life a lot easier. That works. Don saying, can your neighbors hear it at 3 a.m.? I don't think so. because we are in a detached house and I am in a basement. So there's quite a bit of where this has to leave in order to get outside. Also, being a drummer, that was one of the things too when we're looking for a place. Having a basement that I could set up down here, because leaving my old studio downtown Toronto, which was on a second floor, which you could definitely hear downstairs when I was playing drums, and you could definitely hear outside when people were playing drums. I wanted to make sure that if I am playing, I'm not annoying people, because that's one of my things. Like, I know most, not to say most, but I know more musicians than not that don't seem to care that much about how loud they're being most of the time. They just kind of tell everyone else they need to deal with it. I'm not one of those. So I do like having that sense of non-annoyatory going on if I am playing drums. Let's look for a kick sample here. I'm just gonna, like, I'm enjoying this right now. I'm in a bit of a groove right now, so I'm just gonna do the kick as well. Yeah, that should be good. Drop down, go over here. A little fade on that. A little fade over here. So again, we're just using this and to consolidate that. We're just using that as a trigger point off of part there. It's so annoying. I'll go through and I'll get those after. My way of... I'm just going to bring this up a little bit. That looks better. So if you do clip gain and then you still need to consolidate the clip after, and that'll save what you did. Can't just tell the computer you know what you did. I'll go through and I'll get the little the lower ones after. There's a quick way to go through and get those after. Don says, my bad. I thought you said earlier it was a 4-minute song. Well, 3:46 is pretty close. It's a lot closer to 4 than 6 minutes. We could just maybe throw our kick stump right on the track. But again, I like to kind of, if it's only going to take a couple minutes to just lay these in, I'll go ahead and do it. I think it's getting close to dinner too soon. Oh, also, 2021 tax season. Last day to get your RSP investment contributions in. I imagine there are operators standing by, whatever bank you use. If you need to make any investments for the 2021 tax season, you have 3 hours and 31 minutes left to do that. Don't you have to invest? You just put some money away to for retirement. For those of us who still have dreams of retiring, which many of us don't because of the state of the world. But also you can decrease, this isn't financial advice, by the way, but you can also decrease the amount of tax you may be owing at the end of the year, at the end of last year. So if you're American, I don't know how your taxes work. So I think it's just kind of good luck with the way the IRS works, apparently. Hopefully they just never come a-knocking. Patterson says, anyone needs your tax and Mike's your guy? No, actually, I'm not your guy. But I know enough musicians that have run into, not to say tax problems, but it's just like musicians sometimes are like, then again, I think a lot of people really aren't that good with money. Because most people live paycheck to paycheck sort of thing. But I've heard a couple stories from people who've gotten pretty large paychecks from super hit songs. And sometimes remember, the old tax man's going to have their hand out. It's a very long arm. It's on a pole, stretched out to make sure that they get their share. Before you go buy a car or that house, Just make sure you got your numbers in order. Not financial advice, but just saying. That being said, with the state of the world right now and things going on in Europe, I'm curious if the government's going to be like, hey, everyone just chill out on tax stuff until like June. You know. So another election coming up then as well here in Ontario. People may or may not be campaigning. Pro Tools. There we go. Don says, I can't believe it's only 9:31. It feels like 1 a.m. I hear you. I hear how quickly it gets late now. Like even today, it didn't feel that late. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, it's like 5. Okay, so we laid in all the kick drum samples there. Excuse me. I'm going to just line these up. Increase that a little bit. Looks pretty good. Again, I don't need it like super phase locked. It's not going to make the song any better or any worse. Like, it's pretty close. I do appreciate the ones that do like phase align this, like really get into the nitty gritty. So we're going to do this, and then actually we're looking pretty good here for time. I'm going to do this, and then I know I just didn't watch a whole bunch of them. And then there's the little like lower ones. I'll go through and grab those ones after as well. So it might be about 6 dB down or something like that. We're getting there though. Yeah, this is just all prep stuff. So even just the amount of things we got through, and I would consider the first half of the day. First half of the day for me is usually that 3 to 4 hour mark. And then like of a session. And then maybe take a break for an hour or two and then get back to it. And then if I still need to get stuff done, I'll get back to a third session that day for 3 or 4 hours. So I can do 9 to 12 hours in a day of just kind of prepping and balancing things. Someone at home's freaking out right now. They're just like, you're missing so many of them. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. That one's not fine. I was working on the thumbnails for the videos today. So I don't know if anyone noticed, but I put some effort into that. Again, effort. Looks pretty good. Good enough. I'm just finding a balance between this peak right here and where this kind of comes down a little bit. Like it's close enough. Dance is back in a sec. Sounds good. Coming to the end here. Yep, that's good to go. We fall off the Pro Tools universe. I'm gonna go back here. So there's the little pickup ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this down 6 dB. And then I'm going to copy that. I'm gonna go back to the beginning here. I'm gonna paste this in. I'm going to consolidate that. So we're gonna use this one now to just lay this in behind these little pickups here, instead of having them both the same. The length of these are the same, like the length of the actual clip is the same, so we can just tab over to it and just paste that in, and it should be fine. If it's not fine, I'll still sleep well. But instead of having to go through and like manually do all these as you're going through it, you can just kind of, well, at least I find this way works for me. And we'll have a listen later on, maybe next time, to see if we want to get into where the toms are, because the toms don't have microphones on them. But we can still lay samples in like this if we wanted the toms to come out a little bit more. So it's a little bit more work to go and get there, but better is better. So yeah, looks pretty good. See, we're already 3 minutes into this. just get the lower ones in there until we get to the actual... There we go. I'm just assuming these are all supposed to be... There we go. Kind of the same thing. I'm just going to click and drag and bring that up there, and I'll just go back to main rock kick. Why not? Why not? And our output, we'll make that bus 1 and 2. So it's all part of our drums. I'm going to go to our all drums here. I'm going to right-click that, modify. I'm going to add in our kick and snare sample so that that's part of the group. Just so everyone's in the pool, so to speak. I don't know if it actually says that, but I'm just going to listen here. That's not enough music. So our snare top there, 1 second. Just the length of that note, I think we can change that. Let's go to curves here. There we are. So we can change the actual duration of the sample here, just changing the ADSR, or I guess it's just the ASR for this. There we go. I haven't messed around with the mixer too much on this one. I think that sounds okay. Just wanted to hear the tail come through a little bit longer. Also, a little, not say a little trick here, but if you want to get rid of some of the transient off the top, you can use the attack. If it's a little too much. If you want a little more boofy, a little more woolly, you can just use that to kind of tame it a little bit. I think it sounds okay though. So I'm just gonna leave that. Maybe 1 millisecond. That's the secret sauce right there. Actually sound pretty good, actually.
Better still, 'cause when you leave, the summer drips from green and dusty aspens, and then they shimmer golden when you come back in the fall. Going far.
We might need to get those toms next time. All right, so we made some progress today, I think. There's a lot going on with that kick drum there.
When you leave, the summer drips from green and dusty aspens, and then they shimmer golden when you come back in the fall.
Throw a reverb on that snare as well. know if we're using that snare top compression much anyways, but it sounds better without.
Cause when you leave, the summer drips from green and dusty aspens, and then they shimmer golden when you come back in the fall. Going far.
So we have some balancing. There's some rebalancing to do next time we're here, Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm probably going to try to get in there and get those toms just because I'm curious if we can get those out. I think we can, because if we can hear on the tracks, we just kind of got to scrub through the overheads and figure out if we're using, so I think it's a rack tom and a floor tom, so we can put those samples together and make 2 more tracks to do that. It should be pretty easy. Or I just messed it up by saying it should be pretty easy. So I think might be, things are hitting stuff right now. I think I might leave it here. Next time I want to get in there with those toms. I want to tune the vocals. That's another thing. We'll look at the bass again, because I'm still, I just need fresh ears on the bass amp stuff, because it doesn't need to be in your face. The bass does not need to be in your face, but I feel like I need some perspective on the tone, because I feel like it's vocal, as far as things that we need to hear, it's vocals, the acoustic guitar, obviously our drums, but I just feel like our vocals and acoustic guitar, that's where a lot of the balance probably should come from. Just how it's kind of, the song is kind of set up. And one of my things, kind of a giveaway sometimes, is like how much the acoustic guitar is the whole track. So like we could lean on that for a lot. So so we can figure that out next time. Is Patterson leaving? You heading out, Patterson? You tune in next time. Dreaming Dead said hitting the road 2020. Who knows what the state of the world's going to be in 2024? Real talk. I feel like every day I wake up, just hopefully the world gets better. And then it was. And then Europe went all sideways. Last thing I would do, Shift Command U, Shift Command B. Remove any unused session or any unused clips from the session. That stuff can go. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go save a copy, and hopefully this doesn't crash like this last time. 44.1, that's what we're mixing at. For sample rate, 24-bit. Yep, all audio files. Yes, please. Over here, we got a little temp back up here, and I usually just put capital BU for that to work. And then saving a full backup to another drive. Again, if it's not in 2 places in the digital world, it does not exist. That is how it works. Well, we made it. We made it with 2 hours and 43 minutes after a shaky start, because I didn't know if we were actually live yet. Thought I had this down. Never. When you think you're good, you're not good. Don saying I tried some Todd Kern's Darner Blend coffee recently, made but a company out of Winnipeg. I think I missed a whole bunch. We're talking about coffee. I did like seeing all the messages off to the side tonight, though. I do find that entertaining when the chat just starts doing chat stuff. Have a good night, Patterson. See you later. Don saying thanks, Mike. Glad I was able to hang out tonight live. Have a good night. Have a good night, Don. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you learned something, and if you didn't learn anything, hopefully at least it was entertaining. Oh, Leafs are playing Washington tonight, 3rd period. Just saw that. Yeah, so next time, just one more time for me. Gonna prep the vocals, that's tuning and timing. Look at the bass again. I'm gonna try to put some samples or triggers on the toms just so we have it. And yeah, I think things could be sitting in pretty good shape, and I'll do more work on the actual mix bus, the actual 2 mix bus or main mix bus, whatever you want to call it, just to kind of glue stuff together a bit more. But I think a lot of it's just balancing. Because when I took my headphones off listening to things, it's like you need fresh perspective on things. And I felt like it just didn't make any sense. Also, I just want to say, I think the chat function's messing up again. So if you were watching on Facebook, I'm sorry if I missed all of your messages, because I do remember that happened last time where it says that there's 0 viewers here, but I know that there are viewers here. So hopefully next time I see it, especially if you were on Facebook. Thanks for stopping. I'll check in a second on that computer if you're there and you had any questions or any input and stuff like that. YouTube is the safest though. That being said, if you want to help support the channel, just subscribe, Let's Mix Live, and like the video so many people can see it. And Cambridge Music Technology is where I get these sessions from. Fantastic resource if you're interested in mixing or you're just looking for stuff to practice on. And if you have any songs that you found on there you want me to take a swing at, throw that in the comments below on YouTube. And we'll see if we can put those in the queue. So I have a couple already that I'm looking at. Once again, my name is Mike Langford. I am an engineer, producer, and mixer based out of Toronto, Canada. And here on Let's Mix Live, we're just approaching some mixes. Again, there's 101 different ways to make something sound good. And I'm here not to show you what you should do, but what you could do. All right, that's my time for tonight. I will see, hopefully, some of you on Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if not, I'll see you, I guess, in the replay, but not in real time. But I'm still here and we're hanging out. All right. Thanks again. Have a good rest of your night, everybody. Talk to you later.